Hello, everyone, and thanks for joining us for Access City Council. I'm your host, City of Las Vegas Communications Director David Riggleman. Coming up on this show, Victoria Seaman is sworn in to serve again as the Ward 2 City Councilwoman, and 3 municipal court judges also take the oath of office to serve here in the City of Las Vegas. Here to discuss these topics and much more is, of course, the Councilwoman who represents Ward 2. That is Victoria Seaman. Welcome and congratulations. How are you?
Thank you so much. I'm very excited to serve for another 4 years. I love my job.
Well, you know, the last time you were on, we got to mention the fact that you had won, but you hadn't been sworn in yet. So We're going to show a little bit of that today. You had some other colleagues, other elected officials being sworn in on that same day. We'll show that as well. But in the meantime, you and I know Ward 2. That's where we live, right? But for those of you out there that don't know where Ward 2 is located, well, don't worry, we're going to show you right there on the map. If you live in that orange area, then you are in Ward 2 and you're represented by Victoria Seaman on the City Council for the next 4 years. Of course, if you're in that area, work in that area, you're in the city limits of the City of Las Vegas. And, you know, some people aren't always clear on where city is and county. And North Las Vegas and so on and so forth. So anyway, that helps guide you, and you know. So Councilwoman represents Ward 2. And as I mentioned, when you were on the program 6 weeks ago, you had just been reelected in the primary, which is a big deal. If you get 50% of the vote in the primary, then you are declared the winner.
50 plus 1.
50 plus 1, you were declared the winner. And so you and 3 judges managed to do that here in the city. And this was very exciting because you ran against, there were quite a few candidates that ran.
6. And
to get a majority of the vote with that many people, that is a very rare thing, very hard to do. So that ought to speak to, I mean, people obviously feel like you're doing a good job if you can have all those candidates and still manage to get 50% of the vote.
Well, I do think we have done a good job, and I give a lot of credit to my office as well, because as you know, it takes a team, and my team really takes care of those constituent issues, and we do a lot of great things in the ward. And my husband walked 5,000 homes.
That always helps. See, it's a team effort all the way around.
So my husband reminded them of all the things that we're doing, and we were very successful. And I thank the constituents of Ward 2 for wanting me to serve another 4 years.
Because last time you were here, you'd been reelected, but you hadn't been sworn in yet, because the process is the primary takes place, then the election is canvassed and certified. That takes place about a week or 10 days later. And so the next council meeting after that is the swearing in, and that wasn't until July 20th.
Right.
So we're going to show you a little bit of that. You posted on Facebook to another 4 years as your councilwoman. And here you are with your family. And there's Mary Goodman, and she's about ready to swear you in with the rest of the council.
And my daughters flew in for one day to make sure that she was there. And I had my team up there and my consultant, Tom Letitia, because, again, you know, we all worked very hard to be able to serve the constituents for another 4 years.
So there's the swearing in of Councilwoman. It's a very exciting and exhilarating event. I think when you're first sworn in, you've been an elected official previously, getting reelected or elected is hard enough, but then I think you realize quickly that now the hard part really starts. Now you got to serve the constituents, and that's really where the rubber meets the road.
Right,
so,
it is.
But you've been down that road before, so you know exactly what that entails and how hard that work can be. But there you are with your family, and here's to the next 4 years. So.
And it also, every election, it inspires me to work even harder. I don't know. I mean, we already work hard, but, you know, you come up with more ideas and more things to make the community better, and we learn more.
Yeah, because the constituents are speaking to you. Exactly.
Yes, we learn more about the community, but we learn more about our own ordinances and how we can change or modify them to best effectively serve the community.
Right.
Because things change.
Yeah, they do. And again, it's a challenging job because there's so many different needs in the community. So you have stepped up and are ready to take on the next 4 years. It's good stuff, of course. And then also, as we mentioned, you also were joined by 3 members of the Municipal Court. You posted this on Facebook. You said, "Congratulations to the Municipal Court Judges, Burt Brown, Cynthia Leung, and Judge-elect Kelly Giordani. And of course, Kelly is no longer the judge-elect. She is now the judge for that department over at Municipal Court. So that took place on that very same morning after your swearing in, and the 3 judges were also sworn in. So.
And great judges they are. We're lucky to have them. A few of them are so good that they scared everybody even having a race with them.
That's right.
There was no primary and no general. Yeah. And they are amazing. What they do for the community is unbelievable.
We're going to talk a little bit about that in just a few minutes, a little bit more. But each of the judges has a specialty court.
That's right.
We'll have repeat offenders, people who come back to the court for a variety of reasons, and they'll be back in the system again and again. And so the judges, each of them with their own expertise and own areas, are looking at ways that you can kind of break that cycle of what they call recidivism, where you come back into the courtroom over and over and over. Cynthia Leung, we saw, she has Women in Need, the Women in Need Court. And we're going to hear more from Cedric Kern. He wasn't sworn in that day, but Judge Kern's court is the youth offender court. It's young people who keep coming through the system over and over and over. Kelly Giordani, we're seeing there. Kelly worked in the city attorney's office, so she was a city employee, someone we knew well here at the city, working under Brian Scott, our city attorney, and she ran for judge and was elected herself. So good for her. It's a challenge to do that.
We're very proud of our judges.
Yeah, so good for her. And then on that very same day, Councilwoman, you recognized our Citizens of the Month on July 20th.
I did.
It was Ronna Goodman and Dan Roberts from the Vegas Voice. Vegas Voice advocates for seniors. Yeah, seniors and the needs that they have. Yeah.
These two have done so much in this state for protecting seniors. They advocated for the changes in the guardianship laws that led to the arrest and conviction of April Parks. I think I told the story at that meeting that when I was running for the state legislature, Ronna had a meeting with me about our guardianship laws. And when I left the meeting, I said, either she's a little kooky, because I couldn't believe what she was telling me.
Or that extreme, right? Exactly.
We have some really antiquated laws that need to be changed.
Yep.
And it was the latter.
It was the latter. It certainly was.
Because that woman is an incredible woman, and she's done so much for the seniors.
Councilwoman, explain a little bit for people that maybe aren't familiar with what the situation was prior. What was the situation with the guardianship laws that made some of our, especially our seniors, so vulnerable in those situations?
Well, especially for, we get a lot of retirees that move out here, and they don't have their children here. Here's one that I was really instrumental in changing with Marilyn Kirkpatrick and Ronna Goodman was, if your kids lived out of state, they were not allowed to be your guardian if something happened to you. So that's when you would see the public guardians or the private guardians go in and take over your estate, take over your health decisions. Bank accounts. And your children had no rights, even if you had a trust.
Wow.
Yeah. So that was just some of it.
Was that unique to Nevada, Councilwoman?
Pretty much.
Yeah, wow.
You didn't see that. And again, I think it was just unintended consequences of the way it was written, but we changed that. And that was one of the things that while we were doing the guardianship bill that I made sure we put in there. And now you have guardianship lockboxes, which took another legislative session after I left to create the boxes. But my husband and I were living here without our children, and we felt, what would we do? We have a trust, but they would have no rights to our estate or our medical decisions. So I have to say, Ronna Goodman and Dan Roberts are champions. They don't get paid. They don't have a company that does this. They have the Vegas Voice, which is a magazine that talks about
seniors issues.
Seniors issues, and they're angels. I love them. They're angels. I've done some guardianship town halls with them. I did it when I was in the legislature. I did it when I was in between office, because it's so important that people know. We don't know what we don't know, right?
Right.
And
who would have imagined that? It's like, if my kids aren't here, I'm going to have a guardian if I'm up in age, advanced in age?
Yeah.
Who would never have thought that?
Yes, and a lot of families' lives were destroyed until it was fixed.
Yeah.
Because one bad apple came in and took advantage of that.
Sure.
I mean, I'm sure there were more, but one really bad apple.
Obviously very fitting that they were recognized as our July Citizens of the Month. That was very, very appropriate, especially in light of what you're saying. Is I think, like a lot of people, had no idea that was the situation. So.
I couldn't believe her
Yeah.
when she told me.
Speaking of our courts, we'll switch back to the courts a little bit. You posted this on Facebook. You said, my office was honored to recognize the graduates of the Youth Offender Court program, or YO Court, by presenting them with a certificate of recognition from the mayor and the city council. And again, this is what we were talking about a little earlier. That's Judge Kearns that you saw
Right.
there in the back. And this is for young people who repeat and end up back in the court for a variety of reasons. And so Judge Kearns, that's him in the back there.
Right.
His role is to try to help break that cycle of coming back through the system for the same offense or same type of offenses.
Another
over and over and over.
person in our community that is changing lives. We have so many great people in our community that really care, and he's another one.
Yeah. People may not realize, again, we touched on this a little earlier, but we have a specialty court for women who repeat, generally on prostitution charges, that type of thing, sometimes drug charges. Youth, same thing. We have a court for homeless,
Right.
often homeless people.
Veterans.
And veterans as well, yeah.
Yes.
And of course, the usual things, traffic court, a lot of the cases, people are coming through for various types of moving violations.
And these
too.
are rigorous programs, and they choose people that they feel are ready for this and want to change, and they have really changed lives.
Yeah, they really have.
I love this. I mean, I think that this is the model across the country.
It is, and it's funny you say that, because different courts around the country have tried to emulate what we've done here in Las Vegas, invited those judges to come and speak and explain, how does this program work, what would it take to basically start a program like that in our community. The idea is that rather than just throw someone back in jail, raise the fine,
Right.
and repeat the cycle, it's like, how do we break this cycle of them getting in trouble over and over and over again?
Especially for these, small incidences of, drug abuse.
They're misdemeanors versus felonies, right?
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, I think with felonies, we should put people in jail.
Yeah.
But for these, sex trafficking, drug offenses, we need to help them.
Yeah, these are typically misdemeanor charges
And things that are hurting themselves more than anyone
very,
else.
very much the case.
Yeah.
Kind of that self-destructive behavior that lands them back in front of the judge.
Correct.
And so often drug-related. That's often the kind of the culprit. So it's how do you break that addiction cycle, help them get out of that, and it's amazing the success that the programs have had. These people who've been through, whether they're young people or older people, veterans or homeless, it's been amazing how well the programs have worked. So credit to our judges. And our municipal court, if you're not aware, is just literally not directly across the street, but yeah, catty corner from City Hall here in the downtown. So. And Councilwoman, not only did you recognize the judges from our municipal court, but you also recognized one of our district court judges, Michael Villani, 15 years on the bench, and he retired here recently, and you recognized him.
Yeah, I'm a little sad about that because he's such an amazing judge, but it's time for him to go and enjoy some free time.
Yep.
But he's done amazing things for our community, and well-deserved recognition for him.
Yeah, served on the bench for quite some time, and I think people don't realize, not only for the district court judges, certainly in our municipal court, the caseload that the judges have is just staggering. The number of cases that come before them. It is a very difficult job because you're hearing so many cases over and over and over and over. And they can range from criminal cases to civil cases. It's tough. It is tough. You better be ready to roll up your sleeves and work because the cases are just going to keep coming at you.
Is that why those robes have kind of short sleeves?
Yeah, right. So congratulations to him on his retirement.
Yes.
And
we wish him well.
Wish him all the very best. And then, Councilwoman, this is interesting. You have to tell us more about it. The Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department, their foundation had an event for women?
Yes, but men and women both go.
Yeah.
So this is the second year they've had this special event. I mean, the foundation has all kinds of events, but I mean, at this particular restaurant in Ward 2, it was kind of like a mingle at Chinglish.
Oh, yeah, I know where that has been there because I learned about it on your
on my
Small Business Saturday.
Right? Yeah. And so this was their second year there, second event, and it was a wonderful mingle, and they raised money, the LVPP Foundation for Women, Metro Women, and it was just wonderful. And so I usually share the event on my social media, so I'll be doing that at the next one, and I encourage people to come out, meet some of these wonderful Metro women, and but men and women both come to the event and mingle, and it's a lot of fun.
And are they trying to encourage women to become part of the police force? Is that part of the
part of it? But they raise money for their foundation to do great things.
Gotcha. And look out for the officers in the community. Well, very good. And then speaking of things going on in the community, you've been doing this since you've been in office. You have your Breakfast Buzz and Ward 2 Biz. You posted this on Facebook. You said, today we had a very busy morning with our Breakfast Buzz and Ward 2 Biz at Charlie's Lakeside. And folks, if you've not heard of this or kind of understand how it goes, it's basically just a very casual time for people to get together, talk with the councilwoman about issues in the ward.
Yes, and we usually have a Metro officer and one of our marshals there, and they get a lot of questions too about different things going on in the community, a little bit about crime going on in the community, and it is a lot of fun, and we get some of the same people every month and some different new people in the ward.
That was a big turnout.
That was a huge turnout, and breakfast is on us. All we ask is that you RSVP so we know how much breakfast to have.
And you do these every month, right, Councilwoman?
Every month since I've been elected, yes.
It's like clockwork.
But it's always on a Saturday, but it differs in the date. You know, one might be the first week, one might be the third week. So you just have to keep up with us on our social media or join our email list. But we welcome new people all the time, and it's just getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and it's wonderful.
Yeah, and I think people love it because it's just so informal versus having to come to City Hall and talk to the councilwoman, and all of that. This is over a cup of coffee, over some breakfast. Talk about what's going on in the neighborhood, maybe you have an issue, or if you just want to hear and connect with the rest of your neighbors. Right,
and my staff is always there, all of them, so that they can take issues. They'll take your name, number. They'll document what the issue might be.
Figure out who in the city can help you.
Or they'll give them their card so that they can contact them.
Look on our website too.
We have a lot of fun.
Yeah.
A lot of fun.
And it travels around too. It's at different places each time as well.
Yes, in Ward 2.
Yeah, always in Ward 2. Very good. So those will be coming up. And then I love this. On July 15th, we've had the NBA Summer League has been here, highlighting these new guys that have come into the league and give them a chance to showcase their talents. But you also, while you were there, recognized some of our local teachers and educators. Was it this before the game or maybe at halftime? Halftime, yeah.
Halftime.
Wow.
I could not believe how popular and busy and crowded this NBA Summer League is.
It's a big deal, yeah.
And people come from all over the country.
They do.
And it was a great opportunity to thank those educators. They worked so hard educating our children, and
through COVID and everything else.
Yes, they really deserve to be recognized.
So they got a little bit of recognition there at the halftime, and those teachers were selected by
NBA League.
Oh, the NBA selected them.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yes.
And you got to present them.
I presented them.
Wow, congratulations.
It was an honor.
Yeah. Well, good for them, and congratulations to them. And you guys got to see some good basketball in the process.
We sure did.
Too. Yeah, exactly. And then, Councilwoman, since you've been on last, hey, we had the 4th of July, and we got to do the parade this year out in Summerlin. You posted this on Facebook. You said, congratulations to the Howard Hughes Corporation and the Summerlin Council on a fantastic 4th of July parade. And, we're making a big deal out of this because with COVID, it was virtual one year, I think, wasn't it? We didn't really have a parade. But this year, it was the real deal.
And it was packed. People could not wait to get out and see that parade. It was a lot of fun.
And look at you riding on Big Red. You're all by yourself on there, too. You got the whole truck to yourself. Nice.
I should have brought my dog.
Seriously. Big Red is just one of our historic fire engines we've had for many, many years. It's been restored, and it'll make appearances at things like parades. So, there you were. It was a little warm that day, as I recall.
A little.
Yeah, but there you were, no problem. I'm getting up in there, be out in that sunlight and saying hello to everybody. But we did. We had a nice crowd. And, with the pandemic, so much changed. But, I think you're right. People are really ready to get out there.
I just hope we're so behind the pandemic. I mean, I feel like we're almost back to normal.
I hope so.
Don't you feel we're a little bit back to normal?
I think it's like we make progress, and then it seems like we'll take a step back, and then maybe a couple steps forward. Let's just.
I want it in our rear view.
Yeah, let's
window.
go. Let's just put it behind us and move on. But we'll get there a step at a time, as we always do. So, and then, Councilwoman, I want to mention this is really important. September is National Recovery Month, and so you're going to have a special event here at City Hall on September 2nd for National Addiction Recovery Month. And this is open to the public. This is especially geared toward people who own small businesses who have larger business. But people who are in business, it really to understand how to help your employees who may be facing an addiction issue.
Yes, and it's a good way to come out and meet people and talk about the issues and be educated. I'll be there, my staff will be there, and we're looking forward to meeting people and talking about this very important issue and helping businesses so that they can help their employees.
Right. And Councilwoman, I think it's very fitting. You've talked about this. By doing that, the business helps the employee, but they also help their own bottom line. They help the community. Because addiction, you've talked about this, addiction really affects
every single one of us.
Every one of us. Even if you don't have a family member,
you have a friend.
You may have a
friend. You have
friend.
an aunt. You have someone who suffers from addiction.
Maybe a coworker. Maybe the driver you're encountering on the road. So, good stuff. So again, that's going to be September 2nd here at City Hall in Council Chambers. It starts, there's going to be kind of a meet and greet at the beginning around noon, but it really gets underway for all intents and purposes at 1 o'clock that afternoon.
Yes, and there'll be multiple ways to sign up for it. You've got the square right there on the screen, but you can also call my office. You can go on our social media. We'll be putting that out quite a bit, so you can sign up.
Yeah, and again, it's free, open to the public. We just want to get some
right here at City Hall.
Yeah. Chambers is large, we have plenty of room in there, and it'll be a good discussion. You've been involved for a long time in addiction awareness. I think since you've been on the City Council, definitely. Probably before that too. Yeah. So.
Well, like we say, we've all been affected by it. So important issue for everyone.
Yeah, it'll be a good discussion. And again, if you're interested in coming out, if you know a small business owner, probably mention it to them, let them know, because they may want to attend. It'll be just a short time of their day. You'll learn a lot on
and we're going to have fun.
Yeah, exactly, and have fun in the process.
I think we're having food, too.
There you go. Food is always good. So. All right. Well, Councilwoman, we're just about out of time here, but we want to tell everybody out there, hey, we always want to hear from you. So if there's something you'd like to share with Councilwoman Victoria Seaman, you can find her on Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn. You can also contact her by picking up the phone. The number is 702-229-2420, or send her an email. Her address is ward2@lasvegasnevada.gov, and she or one of her great staff will get right back to you and point you in the right direction on what you need. Sometimes it's not our issue. Sometimes it's a different government entity or different organization.
But we'll still help them get there.
We'll plug you in and get you routed in the right direction.
That happens all the time.
Exactly.
Happy to do so.
Exactly. Well, Councilman, great to have you here. We'll have you back in 6 weeks with another update from Ward 2. In the meantime, congratulations on your next 4 years.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here for another 4 years.
Okay. And we're glad you're here, too. Don't miss our next show beginning on August 18th with Ward 5 City Councilman Cedric Creer. You can now catch all of our KCLV shows on Apple TV, Roku, and Amazon Fire. Also, watch for our QR code during the closing credits of this show to download and subscribe to our newsletter. Don't forget, you can watch us live on the internet at kclv.tv. Thanks for joining us, everyone. We'll see you next time around.